So, Facebook, we are streaming live. There's no more chatter before my show starts. Hi, welcome. I'm Linda Marcus Smith. This is Comic Spot. Yes, I have this up here because I was in something last night and I haven't taken it down. You're welcome. Today on Comic Spot, we have somebody who I adore out of the East Coast, which is where they have everything 3 hours ahead of us. Have you ever wanted friends who are 3 hours ahead of you? Find somebody from there. They will do that for you. I have a guest, a special guest, who's been kicking it for decades. Yeah, you heard me. I said that. We have Terry Ann Clemens Zander, or as she likes to go by, Terry Ann Zander. On Facebook, it's Terry Ann Clemens Zander. So don't be confused. The same person. Let me read the bio that she sent to me if I should get so lucky to find it when I need it. Here we go. Let's see how the old lady does. Lord Almighty. This is supposed to always work perfectly, and we know that never happens. So thank you, Russia. That made no sense. Here we go with her intro. Terry Ann Zander. As a kid, Terry Ann wanted to be in showbiz. Oh, she did a lot of acting up and acting out, but her acting skills were somewhat limited. She got her big. Listen, it went nowhere all of a sudden on me, you guys. It isn't my fault. Don't blame the geriatric. Jeez Louise, I hate stuff like this. It's supposed to be perfect every time, but we know life. She got her big break on the mic as a regular, as a reader at her church at Sunday 11:30 masses. Look at her over there acting. Terry Ann has had the good fortune to open for a range of comedians purely by accident, including Steve Marshall, oh my gosh, Jim Florentine, Jackie the Joke Man Martling, and Bobby Collins. Sorry, you can tell that I'm partial. Steve Marshall and Bobby Collins. I would die to open for them. Are you kidding me? Terry Ann is a married mom of two sons, including a U.S. Marine
Hoorah!
hoorah, and a 13-year-old eighth grader. Yeah, man. Oh, we got to talk about this Marine connection we have. She writes and performs her own jokes. Take that, people, which explains why she still has a day job and three side hustles. She writes, produces, and performs comedic murder mysteries. Oh my gosh. Based on popular, albeit no longer airing television sitcoms and dramas. She is also the host of Some Kind of Comedian podcast available everywhere on the planet. The show has a strong following in Iowa. Who knew? And Brazil. I love her. She's about to launch a new weekly live stream sketch comedy show next week with a couple of her comedy pals, Terry and Zander. Woo!
Oh my, oh my, oh my, Linda. You read that and I'm like, holy crap, who wrote that? Oh,
I want to meet that lady.
a trip down memory lane. Oh my gosh, I'm a legend in my own mind.
Welcome to Comic Spot, Terry Ann.
Oh my God. Thanks, Linda, for having me. This is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. Oh my goodness. Thanks. Yeah. Oh, oh. This has been an interesting haul. My 13-year-old is in the other room actually attending class. I'm not sure which one. Let me see. It might be language arts. So you may hear some foul new what do you call vocabulary words coming out from the other. His mic picks up everything. The dog farts and his language arts class in the other room. Oh my God. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. Steve Marshall's a close buddy of mine, and I'm so glad that we have the connection with Steve Marshall. And then we have all these mics and shows that are going on. We pop into each other's lives here and there. And I saw something on your page about Marines. So were you a Marine?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. Drop and give. No, I can't do any of that stuff. You know what? I'm not very good with discipline. Okay, let's just say that. I don't do mornings, and I'm not really good at discipline. And I think I have bad knees because I can only handle like walking. And when it gets to jogging or any of that stuff, and I can't walk, jog, run, chew gum all at the same time. So, and talk, cadence. What do they do? That songs, like my mother. Yeah, that stuff. I don't do that. I don't do that. So no, to answer your question, absolutely not.
And you were married to a Marine. So how did that work?
Oh no, not married. My husband was a former fireman.
Oh.
Yeah, he carried a different kind of weapon, otherwise known as the hose. But yeah, no, yeah, Anyway, yeah, no, no Marine. We have no military. Well, my father and my father-in-law both served in the reserves, not Marine reserves. One was Navy. My dad was Air Force. So that was the extent of military. But my son, my older son, he always wanted since he was a little kid. He got sent down to the guidance counselor's office, and they had a whole military setup, like with little men and whatever. And I think they're the reason why he joined the Marines. I think it dates back to that. But me,
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe. Yeah. Oh, I played with G.I. Joe. He and Barbie had a thing back in the 70s when I was growing up. And Stretch Armstrong tried to break all that up too. They had, I don't know if you ever tried to tear apart a Stretch Armstrong, but he had this gooey stuff in the center, pink gooey stuff. I think he was the beginning of, well, he might have been a little tranny back then, nature or nurture. Maybe he had, he had pink running through his veins. Anyway, I'm just saying.
I wear prom gowns around Vegas, right?
I think you should, because you are fabulous, darling. Fabulous.
And
fabulous.
I'm afraid people are going to think I'm transitioning or something, trying to be. And so I won't even wear transition lenses.
Well, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. You don't want to mislead people. There's so much misrepresentation out there. Like, we need to be who we are. Can you wear a sandwich board or something to kind of make it clear? You don't want it to clash. You don't want it to clash, and you don't want it lit up. You just plain, because you don't want to take away from the neckline. I'm guessing.
Everybody needs a good décolleté. Are we kidding?
Oh, is that? Oh, well, there's a fancy word for a morning show. A fancy word indeed. Say that again. Décolleté. Is that what? I better look that one up. I'm writing that down. Décolleté.
Nicolleté.
I love that. I love learning new things.
Décolleté. It's this part right here.
Okay. I read somewhere that that's kind of like crepe. Like, that's what happens here, right? And this morning, this was looking wrinkled, and I was just going to say, if anybody called me out on it, I would say it was draped. It was a draped.
It's very drapey.
It's very drapey, and I have wings too. Look at that. Like, you can see, I could take off.
Woohoo. Beautiful.
Oh, it's my fabulous. See, that's the thing. You can't see this stuff anymore, right? You got to get up, and then there's the mid. You don't want to see what's going on just too far down.
Yes.
Yeah. Here, I can show you a little bit. There we go. Maybe that. There you go. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more of the décolleté, as they say.
Yes. You have a china cabinet behind you.
Yes, I do. I'm in the dining room. I've been working on my studio upstairs. My son went to Okinawa. That's where my Marine is now stationed. And I sent him a text indicating that I'd like to take over his room as my studio. And he's like, I think I have a problem with that. And I'm like, it's portable. It's not like I'm going to build walls and stuff. I'm going to, I said, it's a laptop. It's a mic. And it's a backdrop. Don't worry. But yeah, right now I'm displaying Lennox, and I believe the pattern is called Laura, which is.
It's the China of the day. And
yes,
your son's in Japan, and you have China.
Yes. We're conflicted. We've always been conflicted. Always, always.
Talk to me about who you were growing up, because today you're a riot. I can't imagine you were ever shy.
You know, good observation there, Linda.
I'm a psychic. What can I say?
We're channeling. You know, I think I had to make up for stuff. I was flat chested for much of my life. They used to call me the Western Flatlands actually in school, and I had this curly hair that was best described. Well, somebody used to call it like mother's hair or bouffant.
Yes.
You know, that was and I'm not sure exactly what that was, but I could best describe that as just like just like a lot of hair. And I was fugly. There was no other way to say it. I was a fugly child. Just there's I own it, okay? I had terrible teeth. And to make up for it, I would always goof off in the back of the class. I spent a lot of time at the principal's office. I was a distraction. I disturbed a lot of people.
You were disturbed.
Yes, I was disturbed, and I still am apparently. And now I've bred two others who are equally disturbed, a lot like me, sadly. But yeah, that's me growing up. I moved around a lot as a kid. My dad was in the not in the military, but he was in the with the Bell system with the phone company. So the Bell systems moved their folks around a lot. So
What?
I was born in Brooklyn. I moved to Massachusetts. I lived in Massachusetts. I lived in New Hampshire. I moved to Florida, and then I moved to Jersey. So I've been in Jersey ever since then. So I actually moved in the middle of my senior year in high school, which explains a lot. Explains a lot. Yeah.
I should have. Nobody asked me out.
I didn't get to go to prom. That's why. Is that why you have all those prom dresses? I didn't get to go to prom.
Now you're on to me. Now you're just getting way too close.
Oh, it's been revealed. Something's wrong with the technology. Is this thing on? We need to.
I did not get asked to my prom, and my only goal in life is to make every one of them sorry.
Yeah, you know what? Stick it to them, Linda. Stick it to them. You know what? And women age so much better than men. You know, if you ever went back to the reunions and saw some of these dudes, it's like, really? Wow, you are overconfident. Can we be real? Way over.
Why does every guy think he deserves to be with Cindy Crawford?
Come on, people.
I'm
I'm all for confidence but I'm a bit reserved with it still. I'm real, like that's why I do comedy, right? I don't then that's why I did radio too in college. I was on the radio in college. I wanted to, because you don't want to see me I'm not playing a lead role, the blonde with the long hair and the big boobs and the small waist. Ain't happening. I'm a little curvy.
You're fun. You're just who you are.
I am who I am. I am who I am.
Yeah. Very authentic. I love that. So you traveled, and what point in your life did you say, I'm going to cast all caution to the wind and go on stage, acting, radio, comedy, sketch?
I don't really know. It's I was in the 8th grade play. I played Franny in The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. So that's when I got the urge to be on stage. And then I got to host I got to be the host MC at the homecoming dance in high school, because that was early before I moved. I moved in December, and that was in October at the big football game down in Florida. And football in Florida was always really big. And I got to wear a gown and everything. And I was like, and I prepped with my fellow co-host. And then that was cool. And we got to write our script and do that. And that was fun. And then, whatever, I've always been close to it, but never, like we talked about people being overconfident. I think I'm really just overconfident too. And I'm just saying, bashing other people. But But comedy kind of happened about 5 years ago now, where in a business meeting, in a networking thing, somebody said, Terry Ann, why didn't you say what you were passionate about? I go, I'm sorry, who are you? And what do you know about me? And he said, well, you want to do comedy. I go, I do. And he said, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's what kind of prompted me to pursue, like, taking a workshop and doing class, and there you have it. And here we are kind of 5 years later, just having a good time, finding my way.
And there's something about your voice and your looks and everything that just gels. So in 5 years, you've done what people 15 years haven't been able to do.
It's you know what? It's people helping people, right? It's being in the right place. It's being, you said the word authentic.
Mhm.
I, you know, comedy is a business, and I'm a business person, right? I do have a full-time job, well, for another month anyway, but so I've always had these side hustles. I've always done a lot of different things. I think that maybe I'm an undiagnosed ADD. I do have obsessive compulsive issues. I might
Me
have,
too.
yeah, it just makes us who we are. It gives us color, if you will. And I don't know. I've always taken kind of leadership things, and I've always kind of gone after things, but getting back to, it's been in the right place. I met a woman, and I got to give her credit. She's no longer with us. She a couple years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago now, I was at my UPS store where I have a mailbox for my business, and they were printing up flyers, comedy flyers. And I have an account there. So I said to the guy making the copies, I was like, hey, can you give my card to the woman or the person that's running these shows? And they, sure. So she calls me up and she says, you do comedy? And I said, well, yeah. She said, well, how good are you? I go, I don't know. I'm kind of new, but whatever. She
Mhm.
said, well, would you like to do a show on blah, 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 blah? And I'm like, well, yeah. So
Wow.
I did the show. And then she asked me again and again. And then she asked me to take over a room for her, or manage a room and do the thing. And one thing led to the other. Um, and she sadly passed away last February,
Wow.
suddenly. And we were going to do a show the night. Let's see, I brought this whole thing down, didn't I? So she passed away on a Thursday, and we were doing a show together that Saturday. She and a comedy magician and a guy by the name of Jim Delakis. And if you haven't seen Jim Delakis, he's a Greek Australian. He lives on the East Coast now, but he's Australian born. Guy is hysterical. And so we all had to do a show without Missy. And Missy Allen was the one that brought us all together.
Oh, I know.
And
I met her. I
and
sat
Missy,
with her for a
yeah,
night. Oh my
yeah,
God, I love her.
yeah.
She
So she
makes it
was,
in. She makes it into your heart.
yeah. And that's what happened. And we connected, and and so some of the things that I'm doing now, I shouldn't say some, a lot of what I'm doing now is because she started me and saw something in me and confided in me and trusted me, because like I said, I wear everything on my sleeve. I am who I am. I'm not pretending. This is who I am. This is my life. This is whatever. And I owe it to her. And as a matter of fact, in one of our murder mysteries, um, a show called the Soup Brandos, which is a take on the Sopranos and The Godfather, and it's all very comedic. And one of the character is Dr. Melfi, right? We all know Dr. Melfi, who is the psychiatrist. Well, we renamed her Dr. Missy Melfi so that Missy could be a part of our stuff forever. So yeah. So anyway,
That's a
that.
cool, very
That's a
cool
long
nod.
story. That's a long story, but that's the answer to your question.
Thank you. Yes. And so the very first time you got on stage, how did it go? How nervous were you? Or were
Oh,
you? Maybe you weren't nervous.
I have a condition called irritable bowel syndrome, which I don't hesitate to talk about. And while I was nervous as could be, it was actually an open mic, and I went. I paid my $5 to get my however long. It was in a little tiny coffee shop right after I took actually before I actually took a class. And I was like, oh, I think I know what I'm going to talk about. And got up there and did it. And a couple people on my way back to the back of the room said, oh, you were very funny. And then some woman said, are you so-and-so? I don't want to say my kid's name. Are you so-and-so's mom? And I went, yes. She said, oh, I drive the bus. I'm like, oh my God, I just said too much. So you know what? If you're not wholly into it, so people get to know me. So I was nervous. I didn't shit myself though. So that was a plus. I waited at least until I got home and then I shit myself.
Oh my
Sorry,
God.
it's too early for shit stories.
Never too early for them. Just, hey, freedom of speech. As long as it's not going off on religion or politics, I'm fine. Have at it.
Yeah, there's about as close to religion as I get. And I don't profess, but and politics, I know I'm allergic to politics. We're good. We're good.
Me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
we're good. We're good. There's so many other things to talk about.
Thank you. Not everything is political. If I'm looking for the best price on toothpicks, it's not because of the Democrats and Republicans. Okay.
Right.
Get away from my toothpicks.
And I'm just going to tell you my position on snack foods. I am a Drake's product, 100%. Not a big fan of the tasty cake varieties. Not a big fan. Well, I like some of the Entenmann's, and I also like some of the Little Debbie's. But Drake's, the middle name of my second son is Drake.
Wow.
Just saying. Yeah, I'm a brand loyalist. Just so you know.
Very political. That's
where I draw the line. I am a brand loyalist. Yes.
She's a centrist. You saw it here. How to have a takeaway that's political.
Yes, décolleté. I'm gonna call that back a couple of times.
Décolleté with necklace.
Yeah.
So the thing is that now you've been doing comedy for like 5-ish years.
Yes.
Tell me about some good and bad experiences in comedy. Because you do sketch and you do acting, right? And radio.
Yeah, I do a little bit of that. I'm not a big fan of when things don't go well. And you mentioned it up at the top, technology, when you have to rely on technology, we need a microphone to do what we do. And if something's not happening with the microphone or people are running late, if you're running a room, that kind of stuff just sets the tone for me. And I kind of fixate on some of that stuff. I need to get over that. That's something I need to work on. But the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Here we go, folks.
I was hosting a show with some people who've got some name recognition, and been on national shows and what have you. Nobody that you and I have spoken of already, so that's good. Anyway, and it was a really weird room, and I know we're never supposed to blame the room, but it was a really weird room.
Yes.
And so to kind of bolster. What did I know? To bolster the comedians in between sets or after their sets, I went up to the headliner, dumbass me, and I said, wow, that was this is a really strange room, but you carried them along. You brought, you worked them, you carried them along. What did I forgot the exact word I used. I'm like, I think I've suppressed it so far back. Therapy has helped. Anyway, so and he immediately, whatever word I said, triggered him. I really want to remember the word. I'll remember it tomorrow. And triggered him. And he was in my face. You don't ever say that about a headliner. I have been on. And he recited his credits. You don't ever say that. And I was like, wait a second. I think you misheard me. I didn't say that. I said this. And for the fucking life of me, I can't remember. And he was like, what? And I was like, I said this. And I was like, my blood pressure, I broke out into a sweat. I was very upset. And I was like, please, I would never say that to anybody. He said, good. What you're supposed to do is say, good job and move along. You never, and I'm like, I said, great job, great show. I'm going to take the stairs because I said, why don't you go first? Because I was afraid he was going to throw me down the stairs. But I tell you what, I was so distressed and so upset. I replayed it in my head. I I drove home. I fixated on it. I talked to my comedy mentor, the woman who coached me originally. I said, "This is what happened." And she said, "You know what, Terry Ann? If you were a guy, he would have never said that."
That's right.
He said, "He's an asshole." She said, if he was anything, he wouldn't have, like he was anybody, blah, blah, blah. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it took me, I'm not kidding you, it took me days. I was so upset about that story. Obviously, I still tell the story when asked. Um, but then somebody told me the other day in a comedy writing workshop about
Mhm.
something that I'm going to hang on to. It's called, and it has a name. It's called the Macmillan's Rule, or the
Really?
Macmillan's Rule, that you're only supposed to hold on to something till 11 o'clock, and then you let it go, and you let it go.
Mhm. That's
Um,
like it, like in the Bible, don't go to sleep on your when you're angry or on
right, kind of thing.
shouldn't
Right,
you shouldn't eat when you're stressed either. It goes
right.
poison.
So right. It was one of those things. But like I said, I fixated. I was new. I
Mhm.
relatively new. He was, he was a headliner and he had whatever. But it stuck with me. And every opportunity I've had to engage with him, which has been limited, I've, by choice.
Court
Uh,
order.
yeah, well, kind of. Well, by choice. Now I don't even know that he would have remembered it happened or that he said it, which is fine, but it scarred me for life. So thank you. And
Some
from a good thing I think is anytime I don't shit myself, that's a good show for me. Uh,
Have you ever?
not on stage. I've come close, but no, because that would really be making a name for myself.
So has anybody heckled you in a way that stuck with you in a good or bad way? Like, did you learn something magical from seeing someone heckle somebody else? I don't think you'd probably get a lot of hecklers.
Well, I don't get a lot of hecklers because I don't give you a lot of reason to, like, I try to bring people in. I try to engage people and make them a part of it. I almost make it interactive, which
Wow.
which I shouldn't do, which I really shouldn't do. But people are always, the most fun I ever had was doing a show at the Comedy Cove. It was a bringer show. It was a full night. It's in Jersey, and they do comedy upstairs at Scotty's, and it's a nice room. It's a lot, and a lot of people have been there. Big name people, uh, including I actually saw Bobby Collins there last February, around this time last year. He was there headlining. Um, anyway, so we're doing the room, and I walked outside to go home, and there's three young guys standing outside. It was cold, and they're outside smoking because you can't smoke. And one of the young guys comes up to me, goes, "Oh my God, Terry Ann, you are so funny. I've seen you before. I love you. Can I hug you?" And I was like, "I've got groupies." I was so excited. I was like, "Yay." And someone once told me that if you can get generationally, if you can get the younger people with you, now I might look older than I am. I don't know. I don't know how old I look, but my gray hair makes me look potentially older than I really am. And, but I've heard if you can make the young people go, that's a pretty good thing to do,
Yes.
because, right. So when I've done shows and the young people, like these guys were clearly young guys. Now they may have been drunk and I don't care. I'll take it. But if I'm going to get a hug and a ass grab at I am over the top. And same thing, if I can see all the young people alongside of at a fundraiser or something, and they're laughing when they should be waiting tables, that's a good thing for me. That makes me happy. That's a
Oh,
good show.
that is. So, what have you done to your set to be relatable to young people? Because I think that's interesting there's a lot of people my age that don't even try to relate to the young people.
You know what? It's not a try for me. And I think it's probably because I think I'm very immature is what it boils down to. It's like I don't take myself seriously. I don't think I'm as old as I feel. And I think because I'm young in my head, it comes across as young, out young. But it can be, I can be talking about my colonoscopy, and there's a part of the crowd that identifies with colonoscopy, and there's also a part of the crowd that has no idea what I'm talking about. It's like, consider this your PSA. You're going to be there, and you might like, what? If you're bleaching your ass, you are going to like, this is like a Tuesday night for you people. Like that's what you. I don't know.
That's great.
So it's because I'm not trying, and because my brain is wired for immaturity, it works. It
That's
works.
great. I couldn't
hope.
relate to young people. I lost young people. They didn't get me. They thought because of my age, I'm racist and the things that were, I literally had to go around the streets of Philadelphia and ask people, when you see me, what do you think? And what do you want me to talk about? And what don't you want me to talk about? And how can I relate to you better? I
Yeah.
literally had to study it.
And what was the response?
They don't want me to talk down to them. They don't
Okay.
want me to make fun of them. They really don't like it if I make fun of myself to much of an extent. I
Okay.
can make fun of myself, but don't go on and on.
There's a line.
Yeah, and don't
Okay.
keep saying the phrase in my day and
Okay.
like my day and you guys got it so good. That just tears us apart.
Okay.
Work on what we got in common. I revamped my entire act after I went out and asked 100 young people what they thought.
Well, you know what? That's very, that's smart, Linda, because at the end of the day, I hate that phrase, but at the end of the day, you want to be relatable, and you want to, and then if that's the audience you're going for, right? You have to connect at some level with your audience. And if you don't know what they want, and if it's not comfortable for you either, why would, we're all trying to find a balance, I guess, right? Because we want to be, some of us want to be available to a larger audience.
Yes.
But like with music, right? People were into, we were into, let's say, the Rolling Stones and the Who and the, if we're and
Neil Diamond.
right, or whatever it is, right? And then some of those bands and those people have come back, right? Neil Diamond, everybody knows Sweet Caroline. Everybody, you can be anybody, and everybody knows. But
he's the male Madonna.
Yeah. Okay. I've seen him. He can wear a pair of black pants pretty snug in the package area. Yeah, I've seen him. I've seen him at Madison Square Garden, as a matter of fact.
How was that?
He was great. He was
He's
awesome.
a showman.
Yeah. Him and Hugh, right? Hugh Jackman is the other guy that's a showman. Little circus humor there. But like I can go see Bocelli. To the Who. I could see Barbara Streisand, which I did.
Oh my God, you did?
Oh yeah. You know what? I gotta say, if I'm gonna pay $375 to sit and have to keep my nose from bleeding the entire time at Barclays, and listen to Barbara for about 45 minutes total. Her whole show was like an hour. And all her political shit. You can have your opinion, but not on my dime.
Thank you. Who
Just
cares?
saying. Like, I want to hear you sing. I want to hear you sing for 45 minutes. And I know she's older and, it needs a little bit more lung power capacity to belt out that stuff and hold the notes. But hello. Anyway, just saying.
No, seriously, Barbara, have you gone off your rocker? You got famous because of your singing,
Yeah.
It'd be like going and getting rhinoplasty. We want Barbara.
Yeah, it's disappointing. So when it comes to comedy, so if we switched, right, I can go and see George Carlin, which I did. Wow. And Andrew Dice Clay.
Yep.
And then see Kathleen Madigan or Carol Burnett or Trevor Noah and different types of, and I can enjoy them all equally because they, so it's the same kind of thing. Like my breadth of interest is great. And therefore I can hopefully appeal to people with a greater breadth of interest.
Well,
It's
that's
not
really,
all, yeah.
this is empowering. It's empowering to me and probably to others because you aren't limiting yourself. And when you talk without limits and you think without them, subconsciously or consciously, other people are going to open up to less limits and more possibilities.
I
That's what
hope
I'm
so.
getting. That's
I
what
hope
I'm getting
so.
at it. Like I'm thinking, what kind of china can I put in my cabinet?
Oh yeah, and there's some Waterford in there. I didn't buy those, but there's some Lennox. Yeah, they got a little bit of everything in there. It took to me to move into this house to act. It was all boxed up. I was married in 97,
Huh?
and then I moved into this house in '04, and they were all in the attic in the old house because I had no place to put them. And I was like, ah. And who knew that one day they'd be the backdrop for my comedy career? Ridiculous. And then of course, then I have a telescope in the back there too.
I saw that.
Which every dining room should have, because who it's for those Instagram shots of my food. Just zoom in, shoot through the back. Yeah, no.
I thought you were using it on your Waterford crystal to see if
Oh.
there's really spots.
Yeah, checking the flaws. Actually, we live in a neighborhood with, I have a nice pond in the front yard, and I'm out in faraway land in Jersey out west, and we actually see the stars here because there's not a lot of light. So yeah, this is bringing down the grid. Actually, running the show right now. It's grid, not like Texas, but it is bringing down the grid. Pulling down
Texas brings down the grid, everything.
Yeah, there's too much going on there to get into.
They need their own country.
Yeah, they kind of do. Never been
Howdy.
there except to the airport. Flown in, flown out.
Dallas?
Houston, I think. Houston, I think, was a hub for United at the time, which is, well, Continental, which is now United. Yeah, I can't keep track.
Where all have you traveled? What kind of jobs have you done? Where have you been in your life doing what? There's more than just comedy going on.
I do business. I do sales. And business development. And I usually work for like the what I consider to be the best in any industry. I've worked in healthcare. I've worked in dental. I've worked in, insurance. I've worked in architecture.
Wow.
I've worked in PR. So a little bit of everything. No huge name, mostly regional kind of companies. Worked in fire alarms.
Wow.
And every time I have a job, someone asks, well, are you an architect? Are you do you know blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, yeah, no, I just play one on TV. No, I don't. No. But I know that there's 4-ply roofing, there's bitumen roofing, there's foam roofing. You want to talk roofing, it's all about slant. And foam roof, not a good idea, especially when there's a lot of birds, because birds like to pick on that and they like to eat that. That's not something you want. And flat roofs, we don't need flat roofs, especially on the East Coast. You can't have flat because then you have ponding, and you don't need ponding unless you've got, you don't need ponding. No ponding.
When it snows, the roof caves in. I know that from
right. Because there's loads, right? We need to structurally make sure that they can hold the load, if you will. Nobody wants to shoot the load, sag the load. The load can't be compromised in any way. Otherwise, lives are at risk. Lives and property. So yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're so eclectic in everything.
Yeah, I learn a lot. I'm like a little bit of a sponge. I don't have any retention capabilities anymore. I really truly wish that I could download some of the repressed stuff that's in my data bank to make room for some new things. Is it just me? I couldn't do, somebody was talking yesterday about new math. I can't do any of that. I couldn't do old math, never mind new math. I can remember a phone number and an address and a person's birthday, but I cannot remember how to compute them.
Yes. I hate math. I hate it.
Yeah. The only class I ever failed in school was math. I think it was geometry actually, which isn't really math. It's just drawing shapes, isn't it? I don't, I still don't fucking know. So when it comes to teaching our kids, husband handles math and science. I handle language arts. That's about my capacity to help the future generation. Oh God, help us all.
So when you and your husband, God forbid, should ever argue, does he come at it from a calculating point of view, and you come at?
He's an engineer, Linda.
Ugh,
Does
God,
that
the
explain
worst.
our whole relationship?
That
It's
explains
just
the china cabinet.
yeah.
Not
And
kidding.
they're all ace everything. And see, I think that's my OCD. Everything is there's two, two, two. It's all symmetrical. It can't. If he had one of those, what do they call those things that have the little bubble in the center that make things equal?
Yeah,
What do they call those?
it's an equal thing.
Yeah. I'll remember it tomorrow. Like I said, everything's going to come back to me tomorrow because
tomorrow.
yeah, tomorrow I'll remember something. Yeah. But yeah, so the guy is a saint really because I'm a handful. I'm just saying.
What's the most difficult thing about being married to you that he's experienced? That we need him to, we need you to act this out from his point of view.
You're assuming there's only one thing. It's my whole I am impatient. Like he's gotten really good at just walking away, which is the thing to do. Just walk away. Back in the day, you used to go out for cigarettes, right? There's that phrase back in the day. I'm going out for a pack of cigarettes. Poor bastard. I mean, he just didn't know. I'm impatient. I speak my mind. I am just like the best thing that he can do for me, which he does. He gives me the freedom to do whatever I want to do.
Wow.
Because at the end of the day, that's phrase.
phrase.
He says to me, you're going to do whatever you're going to do anyway. Like, why are you asking? You're going to do what you're going to do anyway. You have a point. You have a point. And I do. And I think that's and he says, you've been in marketing for so long. He says, you marketing people, you make it up and you make it so believable. And you were completely wrong. I said, but I own it. But you know what? Sometimes I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, but you would never know that I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
I love
Am I allowed to say the F word?
Yes, please.
That ship sailed. That shit sailed. Yeah. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy.
How'd you meet him? How in the world do you meet a good guy? I haven't been able to.
And we were older too. I didn't get married till he was 39. I was 32. Neither one of us had been married before. Which was a prerequisite. I did not want baggage. I had enough of my own. I didn't need someone else's baggage. I had 3 criteria.
Yeah.
He had to have never been married. He had to have his own assets, and he couldn't have smoked. Oh wait, no kids, no marriage. Because you could have kids without tying the knot, right? So no kids, no previous marriage, and he couldn't have smoked. He couldn't be a smoker. Real high standards I had, and I managed to find one that met all 3. That wasn't gay. That was available.
Not that anything's wrong with being gay.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Let's be clear. As a matter of fact, I've been accused in my own family of being gay. And at a bridal shower in my family, my cousin said to me, "Well, we always thought you," and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? What would ever give you that?" And including my comedy coach for a year, she's coaching me. And then she says, "Well, Terry, and I thought and I'm like, really? You're gay and your gaydar is detecting that I'm gay?" I'm like, come on. My 13-year-old is now looking at me like, what is she talking about being gay? Yeah. And I have a subscription to Out Magazine. I don't know why I keep getting it. It comes every month, and I don't know why.
Do they bring it in the mail, or is it safely in your inbox?
It's in the mail at my business account. I get Out Magazine.
Wow.
And yeah, my box has been outed. Anyway, so where was I? Oh, something about my husband. Oh, how we met.
Yeah.
See,
that's it. We
Yeah,
found it out today. We didn't have to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, how we met. We a friend of a friend I was working with, and her boyfriend knew a guy, and we had a blind date. And I can remember at the time, I think the OJ trial was going on, and we were sitting at the bar talking about the OJ trial. That was I think that was 1995ish or so.
That's about it.
Yeah.
295. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, so there you have it. All these years later, 2 kids, 20 something years later, I think this is our 23 years in this November.
How easy is it to raise children with your temperament?
It's not good. It's not good at all. It's not good at all.
Have you ever contemplated murder?
Routinely. And here's a little PSA for today. You are not allowed to use an implement to discipline your children. Now, I know this because Megan from Child Protective Services told me that the first time she came to the house. Now, you think it's funny. It's all true. But she asked me, well, how do you discipline your children? I said, I yell very loudly. And once I used the belt. And she looked at me like, and I went, and I looked at her and she said, that's illegal. And I went, really? Well, times have changed. The good news is the report came back unfounded and we still have the kids. That's the sad part. That incident back in, I don't remember how long ago that was, but that incident basically said to me that I could never, ever, ever lay another hand on one of my kids because 1, there's a file, and 2, because, mainly just because there's a file now. And so we're screwed. Parents are fucked. Because what kids really, you know what? And we all say it, but no one admits it. So I'm going to say it for all the parents out there who are trying to raise their kids in this day and age of, fuck that. Somebody told me if you just grab them by the ear, there's no marks. Please get me, please. I am not advocating abuse of children. I love my kids. I do. But sometimes, because our kids know what buttons to push.
Amen.
And I get right. It just doesn't work. Just doesn't work. There are far more effective tactics. I could have, So it's not cool. It's not cool. I have to walk away. I have to keep because.
And that's boys.
Sad. That's sad. Yeah. And I wanted boys because I don't do hair accessories. I didn't want to deal with, I said going in, first of all, I didn't want kids. Let's be clear. Second, and that's God's honest truth. I had a meeting with my priest, the whole thing, and said, I can't. He's like, anyway, to make him happy, that's what I did. All right, we'll try. So anyway, so I've been blessed. And it's I forgot what I was going to say, but yeah, it's not, we're just making the best of it. I'll just be glad when they're, one down, one to go. This one's in my face all the time.
Slamming doors, telling you
slamming doors. Fuck. I'm like, holy shit. When I was a kid, man, I did not talk back in front of them. I would be like, ugh. I didn't curse until I went to college. I didn't have sex until I went to college. I didn't smoke pot until I went to college. I was so straight and narrow. So the only thing I had was to try to be funny because I couldn't do anything else. I literally couldn't do anything else. I was
Too.
the good Catholic girl that followed the rules, that whatever. And I didn't get away with anything. As a matter of fact, I told you about that whole homecoming thing.
Yeah.
If my parents came to Jersey to look at a house and they left us there, and I was in charge of my brother and sister. I was a senior in high school, and my neighbor looked in on us. That was probably child endangerment, but let's not go there. Anyway, so so they found out that the guy that was co-hosting with me came over to work on our script. And when I tell you, we sat at the kitchen counter working on the script. Nothing, because I wasn't a big boy chaser. Anyway, and they found out about I was grounded because of that. Nothing happened, no parties, no anything. I was grounded, but they let me go to the homecoming event to do the event. And then I came home. I didn't even get to go to the dance after the party. My kids, whole different thing. They get away with murder.
So you're the strict one and your husband is
Oh
lenient?
no. Oh no. Oh
You're
no.
you're both strict, or you what?
I talk a good game, but I just walk away. I scream, I walk away. My husband, he comes in, just gives a look or says it in a deep voice. It's time to wake up. It's time to shut the computer down. I could say, it's time. It's time. You need to shut your computer off. It's time. It's time. I'm going to unplug it. You need to stop. It's time for bed. It's time to shut it down. Goes on for fucking 20 minutes. And they're like, and then I get the blah, 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 blah. My husband comes in. Oh, really? You're not listening? Takes the computer away for a week. Just unplugs everything, walks out to his car, and he says, you lost it for a week. That's it. Doesn't raise his voice. Just unplugs it, walks away. But I get they don't do that to him. Fuckers.
This one, that the older one that you have that's in the Army, the
Marines,
Navy,
Marines.
I was going to get it eventually.
It's okay.
It's like my intros. People laugh about my stupid intros. So, what was he like to raise?
Well, here's a fun fact. They are born on the exact same day.
What?
They are 6 years apart to the day.
Wow.
They are exactly the same.
Wow.
So I had it's like you stamped out a duplicate of the same kid. And I always say they're witty, they're handsome, and they're addicted to porn. They're just like me. So yeah, they're exactly the same. So I went through the same thing, and you would think I would be better at it. I'm just tired. I'm just way, way more tired. I was a lot younger then. I had my second one at, well, now you're going to figure out my age, but my second one was at 42.
I don't do math. You're
yeah,
lucky.
right. Well, there you have it. There you have it. We are safe with Linda and her math skills.
I won't even get it tomorrow. It's not happening.
Yeah. So they're exactly the same. So we said that the other day when we were talking to the school. I looked at my husband and said, we did this 6 years ago, the exact same thing at the exact same time with the other one. It'll happen. It'll all work out. And that's my philosophy. It'll all work out.
Speaking of philosophies, you're a major player in the world of comedy, and
there you go. Now, see, now you're drinking the Kool-Aid. Now you're in marketing, Linda.
Now I'm doing a Jiminy Glick on you. What kind of things do you want to see happen in comedy, and what do you want to see happen in the world in your lifetime and beyond?
That's so deep, and it's not, I don't do deep before noon. I don't even do it after 3. What do I see for comedy? Well, you know what? I think I want everybody to be pressing the flesh, right? We need to hug each other. We need to see each other smile behind and be genuine about it. We need to be able to see, if somebody wants to, spit up their food, I want to see it. I want to see it live. I want to see it happen. I don't mind getting a little food on me if someone, doing the, oh, now here the dog's going to bark. um, the dog. So I want to see all that, I think all these skills that people are learning, podcasting and I do a podcast. I think people doing improv sketches and stuff like that. I got a new show coming out in 2 weeks. All of this time, if you've been smart about it, you've learned some new skills, right? Which makes you that much more versatile. So I'm practicing my Southern accent because I'm using that in my improv. I have a character, and we use a Southern accent. I'm not in costume, mind you, but anywho, I can't do it when I want to, but now I'm doing it anyway. So I want to see all those skills. I want to see the recognition of all those things that people are doing. Like I want people to be able to fly with all the things that they've been doing, and go beyond the boxes that we're all in, because we're all in boxes in some capacity, whether it's here or there. In the world, the world is a scary place. That's one of the reasons why I didn't want to raise kids, because the world is very scary. There's a lot of shit. My son, my older, was born 5 weeks before 9/11.
Wow.
And I remember sitting, we all remember sitting in my chair with him on my lap and getting the call from my husband because I was on maternity leave. Good Lord, get me back to work. But
Talk about dropping a load.
yeah, hello. But I just want things to return to normal, and whatever normal is. And I want people to be authentic and be who they are, and just embrace. I think we've all learned to embrace one another and be more forgiving, and hopefully this political thing in general just doesn't further divide us.
Yes.
I'm not a very divisive person.
No, I'm really glad to see older people my age, younger, older, that are getting woke to, and I hate the word woke, but waking up to the reality that we need to be kind and nice and not be racist and judgmental. And, it doesn't explain the cancel culture, but,
No, not at all. Not at all.
so I don't understand that, but
That's a whole other thing. And I'm not that bright, Linda.
I'm not
I
that
just,
bright.
I kind of stay in my lane.
I
try
still
to,
I still get Reader's Digest. I'm afraid to cancel anything.
well, you still have a chance at winning the sweepstakes. So why would you do that? Why would you do that? It could happen to you, Linda. It may happen to you. You keep wearing that prom dress, somebody's going to discover you, give you, and come up to you with the big check and the balloons, and you are going to be set for life. You'd make it. You know what? I could see you pulling the lottery. Like, what's that? Well, I forgot. The woman that pulls the lottery, like Yolanda. Oh, it's Yolanda Vega is the New York lottery person. But like, you could be that because you've got you're very poised. Like, were you ever a beauty contestant?
Never. Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. You have that poise and that décolleté.
I don't have
You're the whole package, Linda. You really are.
I would go on there like Lucille Ball and be the one on the end making fun of the others.
Well, somebody needs to keep those ladies straight. Come on now. Really? Is that what, the one thing that bothers me, you talk about the future, it's a pet peeve of mine. It's the people that get sports. I love sports. I watch sports.
Me too.
Just a couple of, I'm a big fan of football, big fan of baseball, not so much basketball, golf. Well, Valspar sponsors, but I'm not going to watch the paint dry on a golf course. Although I've worked at a golf course and lived on a golf course and all that stuff in my day, back in the day when we had to wear, barefoot to school. Never. Yeah, sports. I saw the other day that some guy, I think he's a baseball dude, he's getting paid like $340 million. I don't care who you are. There is no reason for you to make that kind of money playing baseball. And that's shame on people who perpetuate that kind of mentality. I think we should all go back to, the days of Jackie Robinson and Babe Ruth, and like bring it down to make it a family thing again. It's not a family thing because only, it's become very that us and them. Let's put it that way. Us and them. We
Yes,
need to be
yes.
more we, not us and them.
Yeah, I think that they should get paid on commission for every, strike, or they
Performance
get money.
based.
Yeah,
Performance based. Yeah.
you strike out, you get money taken away.
Yeah. Oh, that's an idea. I like that. I
Yeah,
like that.
that kind of
Huh.
stuff. Make them
Yeah.
work for it. They're just
Yeah. Yeah.
got to. Why should I even go to practice? Why should I do it with my whole heart? I
Yeah.
don't know, because you're getting paid $18 million an hour.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't do math.
Yeah. Right. You're getting paid a shit ton is what you're getting paid. Bunch of, like, hey, I like to win just as much as the next guy, but please, hello. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry,
So
that's just my pet peeve. And if the world could change, that's one thing I would change.
I love that. So where can people follow you? Because they've had a chance to get to really know you off stage,
Okay.
behind your mask.
Okay, behind my mask. It's still not that, anyway, not that attractive. Okay, so on Facebook at Taz, T-A-Z, because that's my name, Terry Ann Zander. Taz Comedy.
Okay.
That's one way. And there, I have websites for all this stuff too, at Taz Comedy on Facebook or at Some Kind of Comedian. And that's also on somekindofcomedian.com, where I do by every 2 weeks, we post a podcast. I'd love to have you on, Linda. That would be a lot of fun. We don't do the video thing. We just do, it's pure audio. So,
Yeah.
So that's a lot of fun.
Okay.
And
so your podcast is like a podcast.
It's a true podcast. It's a true podcast. Yes. We're going old school podcast.
Well, wait, what about all my good looks?
I know. I'm sorry. They are not conveyed, but you know what? We paint such a wonderful picture that I think people will get it, and we'll take your headshot. We'll put it next to it. But yeah, we do a podcast with a brilliant friend of mine who does all my technology. She's fantastic. Terry Walters. Shout out to Terry.
Hi, Terry.
So yeah, she's awesome. So Some Kind of Comedian, and we are launching in 2 weeks on Tuesday, March 9th. We are launching our improv comedy show. It's a 30-minute show, top to bottom. It's going to be live on Facebook and YouTube, streamed live. And the show is called What's Your Problem? What's Your Problem? And I am doing it with some very, very distinguished fellow comedians, Donna Moran and Caitlin Ryder. So we are pulling on our improvisational skills to help people with their problems. What's your problem? So that airs again on
you can
March
only
9th.
have one?
Oh, no, we have several problems we tackle, but we rely on our callers and our people in the chat to send us their problems. We have a couple that people have already been sending in from all over the country. Yes.
That's great.
It's going to be fabulous, fabulous. Tuesday, March 9th, 7 p.m. Eastern.
What time is that West Coast?
Oh, on the West Coast, well, that's -3. So was that before the time change or not? I think it would be 4 p.m. if you're on the West Coast. Now, if you're in Japan, it would be because that's where my son is. That would be at that's where Terry Ann's son is. That would be at it's 14 hours, 14 ahead. So that would be on Wednesday at 5 a.m. on Wednesday. He ain't waking up for that, I don't think. But he could get it later on the
He's
Facebook
a Marine.
Yeah, well, he would be up. He's probably jogging or something then, I'm guessing. I'm just guessing. I don't know for sure. Because that's OPSEC, as they say. They call that OPSEC. For those of you lay people, that's operational security.
Wow.
Just saying. So yeah, so that's where people can reach us on Taz Comedy, Some Kind of Comedian, and in 2 weeks, What's Your Problem?
I love it. Good luck with the new podcast. Congratulations for starting. I mean, you probably put in at least 5 hours of work on that.
Oh, we've done a lot. And our promo is dropping today. So I will send that along. It's a little 2-minute little clip of some of our stuff. So yeah, we're ready to rock and roll.
I want to see
loaded.
that. I want to share that promo. I want to share everything you ever want me to share for the rest of your life. And I want you to come back on right before that starts, that new podcast, and plug it.
I would
Bring
love to do
Donna.
that.
Bring
Oh, I would
Donna
love to do that. I would love to do that, Linda. Thanks so much. I can't tell you how happy I am to get to know you,
Yes,
and
me too.
we'll have you on the podcast. I think that would be great. It's not the same experience, but it's still a lot of fun. So
That's
still a lot of fun.
great. I can be serious, not for long, but I have to take breaks.
We just kind of go. We just kind of go. I ask whatever. It's just fun. It's fun. It's fun. We got to have fun, right? Fun gets us through the day.
We got to have fun. We got to. There's too much seriousness in the world. When I started comedy back in my day 7 years ago, because I have seniority over you.
Yes, you do.
I had to look really hard for sad people, but thank God there's more of them now. Sit down.
Yeah, the pool has gotten larger.
It's a never-ending supply of people that need to laugh right now.
Absolutely. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Not good, but we can heal people with laughter. So that's. I'm gonna let you go because now I'm going philosophical on you and
that's okay. That's okay. And there's that other part of my side hustle which I gotta do too.
Yes.
I gotta.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Linda. It's great to be on the Comedy Spot, and I look forward to seeing you. And hopefully, one of these days, when I travel out west, maybe we can hook up and do that hug thing we were talking about. Share a stage. That would be awesome.
That would be so great. Come to Vegas. I know some of these people. They're going to want you on their stages. Are you kidding me?
Well, my sister lives there, so I might have to do that.
Yes. And you probably know people and don't need my help. You probably
Oh, no, I could use all the help I could get. Have you seen me? Anyway. Thanks so much, Linda. You have a great day.
Love you. Miss you already. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.